So, hello everyone. My name is Rishikesh Nare, and we welcome you to our special series, The Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories. It's an initiative by ETH. The key to cutting chai conversation is to have a good discussion around the areas of your early life, education to grooming, training, business sense, skill augmentation to work-life balance. And before we begin, let me set the context right. Uh, where we would want to take your inspiration stories out of the boardroom. Okay, so here we would want to reveal your personality, which is right now, which is there in the boardroom, which is a different story altogether. But we want to just uncover another part of your story, and it is going to be very exciting. And today we have Mr. Amitava Saha, CEO Express Beast. Mr. Saha, thank you so much. Thanks for your time, and I'm really excited to have this conversation. So I would not waste too much of time. Let's begin with you. So please tell us about your childhood, about your schooling. How's the journey like?
Good morning, Rishikesh, and thank you for inviting me to this cutting chai. Uh, my schooling was in Calcutta. Pretty, I was a normal student, a normal, very middle class upbringing. Went to a school called Hindi High School, now called Birla High School. One of the well-known schools in Calcutta. Uh, it was all boys. So uh, been around with some of the great guys schooling. I still am in touch with a lot of my batchmates. So it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, see, you mentioned about Hindi high school, and just wanted to ask you that, does that make any difference? Because it did not strike me, but now we have this, standard of everybody needs to learn from a convent school or maybe an English school. So when he faced the actual world, that person, he's ready for that battle. Uh, does that affect you in any way?
The name is a misnomer. It means
Okay.
it's Hindi High School. It's actually English medium school, and
So it pleases your parents at the same time it helps the students, so nobody is fighting.
Uh, no, it was, I think, the Hindi High. It was a Birla school, so that's why they renamed it Birla High School. So the
Oh,
Birlas run some of the best schools of Calcutta. Ashoka Hall for girls. There's MP Birla, and then there are a couple of us. So this was one of the Birla schools of Calcutta.
yeah. Okay, so let's talk about your childhood. I mean, this is the usual question, typical one that I ask it to everybody, that were you a mischievous one or were you a shy student? I mean, what kind of a personality you were in school? Like, just try to recollect all the thoughts that how really young Amitava was.
So I think I was a person who would not stand out in the crowd. I was neither mischievous nor shy. I was quite outspoken. Uh, uh, but I would adhere to norms. I would adhere to norms. I would not go. There are a little bit of mischievousness that you do. As a student, you will have nicknames for teachers. The normal stuff. Nothing like I would not break the classroom or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, as long as you respect all the amenities and the people around, that's fine. And yeah, but most of the mischievous students, they have this, style of having this poker face, saying that no, I'm not the one. I haven't done that. So we would, love to explore that secret. Is there any secret from your childhood days? I mean, have you ever thought of that you would get into an IT field and you would learn something that you would become so successful?
I don't know whether I'm successful or not, but yes, I think there was IT was very new when I was growing up. There was no IT. Uh, I so my first, being from a middle class family, my first aspiration was to have a career, and during my time, you can either be an engineer or a doctor. So that's where the career options ended. So, so parents wanted you to be an engineer or doctor. Although my mother was a bioscience graduate, I was very clear I'm not going to study biology after class 12th. So that left me with one option: engineering.
Just one option. That's
That
engineering.
that was so I went after it. Uh, So that's the way. Once I got into engineering college, I became very, I realized probably I need to top it up with once you're in IIT and half your friends are going for MS or somebody studying for GMAT or something, I realized that at least I need to do an MBA in India. So if my friends were like targeting US or something else, or somebody was targeting PhD, so then I realized that probably I need to pursue the MBA as a career. When I post engineering, I need to do MBA. So that's how I sort of uh, got into the MBA. Yeah, another thing was I was very clear that I was fascinated with technology, but I was very clear about one thing, that I would not be doing. I'd do something with technology, but I would not be coding. I don't know.
Oh,
Somehow that was very clear to me from day one. And even in engineering, while lots of my batchmates went to Infosys and Wipros of the world, I appeared in those exams and I could clear all the writtens because very easily, because I was preparing for CAT.
okay.
I could clear all those written exams very but in interviews I told them, like, I'm not interested. So I was very clear I wanted some manufacturing or certain jobs, so I got picked in Tata Steel. And then I went into my B school, and later, you know uh, post my around during B school, I was very clear I wanted to get into technology company, and I wanted to get into business side of it. So I had applied just in I think three in my placements. I had applied for three companies. I did not apply for anything else. Uh, so yeah, so I have been part of technology companies, building technology companies, but I still can't write a single line of code.
I mean, thank you for making it so, it is, it right now, when I'm hearing all these facts, it feels so simple, but you've done everything, right? From IIT, right? From, getting into doing your studies, exploring various parts to be clear what you want to do, what you don't want to do. And that is something, most of the times, people lack. And I would definitely, I take my example. I know my friends that, the clarity of thoughts, that is something important. If you go today and if you ask someone that would you want to do coding, that person blindly is saying no, I want to do coding because of the overall scenario that is created around everybody. But you are clear that I don't want to get into coding, I want to do this. So maybe clarity of thoughts is the most important thing when you drive your journey through. So again, let's go back to your city, Kolkata. How's the city like? I mean, how's the vibe? What is the difference? I mean, you must have traveled across the country now. What is the difference between all the cities out there in India and your hometown? I can
Good
see that
food,
smile. I can see that smile. Yeah. Yeah.
good food,
Okay.
uh, and I think great set of people. But I think we the work culture probably needs to be slightly different.
Okay.
Having said that, I've seen a lot of people, a lot of good stuff being done in Kolkata, but I think that mindset is slowly changing. So we had that, when I was growing up, the mindset in Kolkata was very different. There used to be a lot of buns and other things. You know, Nowadays, obviously, those are past. But
Yeah.
my childhood memories are like a lot of wasted hours.
I mean, it's very simple for you to say that wasted hours, but I don't think so. I mean, even if you're relaxing in that city, that's a wonderful city to to relax in.
It is.
Yeah, it is,
It
and
is
then
a
it helps you somewhere. It helps you somewhere.
wonderful city to relax. Brilliant cultural scenarios, cultural. If you are culturally inclined, a
Right.
lovely city to be in. Especially during winters, you have those open air, musical events, uh, you know, cultural shows. Uh, uh, you know, so
Yeah, I
so
mean, I can get a sense of it now on your face. It is clearly visible that how
but
happy
it's
you.
it's it's
Yeah,
also a thing of, I get a sense of missed opportunity. Calcutta was the economic capital of India in 50s till 70s. I think it is also there's also a sense of missed opportunity.
yeah. So, was there any cultural shock for you when you moved to, city like who's rich with culture, so many people, different vibe, to getting into IIT on the next day, and then starting your college with 12 hours of studies, assignments later on, and the fight, the race that you all were involved into. So, was there a cultural shock, or you were okay with it? Did you
No,
acclimatize in a better way?
I think all of us, if I remember my first, when walking into IIT hostel, you know, every one of us were like, were pretty much similar. You
It's a
know,
movie
not
scene now. I can
not
visualize how you
not
were walking into this.
something like, I think Three Idiots was a lot dramatized, but but you essentially land up in a place not very sure where you are, and you find like everybody looking similar, something like a new recruit in the army. Everybody lost, and you try and cope up with the first couple of weeks or first semester, especially engineering drawing. I think even now would be a nightmare for most students, mechanical engineering students, I can say. I could never imagine the angle or slant even now. uh, Next semester machine design was a lot, but although like machine design sounds more complex, machine design was probably a lot more easier. Doing those machine designs on paper, engineering drawing was a nightmare. So I think it was, first semester was a bit tough, but then you get along with you find great set of friends, and those friendships last a life entire life.
And having set of friends, having set of people, I mean, your faculties around you. But there's one thing that that troubles everyone, and I would like to use the strong word called troubling, because when you grow up as a bright student, definitely your parents, they will have expectations from your end. But when you move to another state, like when we say that when I see my cousins, they're playing in my building, we say, oh यार कितना अच्छा खेल रहा है यार, तो इसको तो मतलब इंडिया खेलना ही चाहिए. And that expectation sets in, and actually a person move to a international scale. uh, there is a kind of a pressure that comes on that player, because someone who's a spectator, he's happy and we make remarks. But how to deal with that pressure when you must have moved to IIT? Your parents must be thinking that now our child is going to break through everything, and he's going to enjoy the best days of his life. So how would you explain this entire thing?
So I think, yeah, that's the normal scenario, and I could see a lot of my friends growing through it, and that's the unfortunate part of it.
Yeah.
But for me, I think it was more balanced. Because in my schools I had some great chums. So in my class of 40, 36 or 40 people from my school in that science, 6 of us cracked IIT. Okay, and I had the guy who's sitting next to used to sit next to me, share my desk, was All India rank 42. He wrote the exam with 102 fever, and it cracked. And he couldn't write the full exam. By the way, he left the exam midway.
So
Okay, and then he
still
cracked.
42.
He's
Okay.
still 42. And the guy who was probably 2 desks ahead of me on my right was another gentleman, Anupam Gupta, who was All India rank 12, IIT Kanpur topper in computer science. So my expectations were always balanced.
You remember all these guys. You were saying that he used to sit in front of me. He was right there. I mean, I can feel, and your subconscious mind have registered that pressure at that point of time, and you still remember that. So again,
There's no pressure. There's no pressure. I think you simply realize that there are people who are better than you, and and uh, and and you try to make the best of yourself. So you should put a positive. You should get motivated by that, by the guy who's ahead of you. Because obviously the guy who was sitting next to me doing AIR 42, any problem I could not solve, the night before I used to ask him. Next day he used to say, you couldn't do this. That's so easy. It took me 5 minutes, and he used to like 5 lines. He used to solve there's to a book called Irodov, which was very complex in physics. And I don't know, students probably nowadays don't use Irodov. In my days, Irodov was the epitome of highest level of problems of physics could throw off. Irodov had a book of problems. Irodov was a Russian author,
Okay.
and you could like if you could solve like 30% of Irodov in my days. I don't know, maybe later, maybe people started solving Irodov much more. People got smarter, people could solve. But in my time, if you could solve 30% of Irodov, you were seriously good. Okay, you're seriously good. Uh, and I used to like try and spend 2 hours not solve a problem. Next day, done. I've done it. And he would solve it, and then he used to tell me the serial he watched last night.
Oh,
After solving all those problems. So no, my
and
expectation.
you're destroyed there.
So my expectation was always very, very tempered. I knew I couldn't be Satyaki Das. I was not born to be Satyaki Das.
Right. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's so many things, and we can't encapsulate everything in just 16, 17, and 20 minutes. But then let's move to another part of your life, that is, your first job. I mean, we were reading about you. You had two opportunities to choose from. So I would not give the spoilers. Please give us the spoilers, and please take us through the journey where you drove the most unconventional machines. I would not name them right now, but please tell us that.
So for I had like out of campus, I had two job offers. One was in Indian Oil, other was in Tata Steel. So I spoke to some of my seniors. I wrote both the great companies to work for. But my seniors told me probably as an engineer and the opportunities that you get in Tata Steel during those times, things might have changed. They told me probably you could land up in a more challenging job. So I opted for Tata Steel, although it was paying me much less than Indian Oil. So it was paying me, at least if I compare to Indian Oil salary, it was paying me at least 40% lower. Okay. Uh, I still chose Tata Steel, and then the first year was fun. I would call it part of rigor and part fun, because we were half the period of 6 months. 1 year training was visiting different parts of Tata Steel and trying to understand how the plant worked, and the kind of what expectation that was from us, from the management. Whatever we would learn, we could probably, if we are in a plant we are expected to visit a plant for a week, we could probably be, if I really spend my time for 1.5 days, I could pick up everything. So you could like you could spend 2 hours, go for an early lunch break, or some days you could go mark your attendance and come back and have your breakfast. So uh, but right now when I think back, I think it was a brilliant program. Although like there were a lot of free hours, it was a brilliant program, because it teaches you, it gives you an overview of the full steel plant, how it plant operates. And a steel plant is a very complex thing. It has mechanical, chemical, it's different. It's like a mother plant with a lot of small plants inside. My hardcore manufacturing to process to chemicals to power engineering, a lot of things. So I learned a lot, enjoyed a lot. And then second year, I got placed in something. I was involved in commissioning of a uh, of a turbo blower, where we are trying to support two blast furnaces, which was being done for the first time in the world. GHH Borsig was the name of the plant. I believe if they have the photograph, there'll be still couple of photos of me during the commissioning stages. Highly technical, very challenging, and that's another brilliant. When you work for a large company like Tata Steel, while you could have a very fun-filled first year, second year could be like completely diametrically opposite. I used to work 12 hours a day, sometimes spend the nights, uh, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. So really grateful that 2 great years in Tata Steel before I moved to my IIMs.
Yeah, definitely. So again, you missed out on the experience of your driving a loco and a crane. So how is it like? Is it like a normal road car? I mean, would you?
Oh,
How?
okay. I missed the fun part of the training.
Yeah.
So it was not just plant training. I think they try and develop a full personality, plus give you, as I said, they give you the exposure to the entire part of the plant. So I had been to mines. had driven a loco, fully loaded loco, inside the plant. Obviously, along with the driver next to me,
Yeah.
trained driver next to me. They would not leave a full loaded loco in my hand, somebody driving. But yeah, it was a. I remember it was a 40 or 50 carriage loaded goods train, loaded with coal, and then driving over it cranes. Uh, and obviously, as a part of your team building exercise, we scaled. We were hiking, which we went trekking for 14 days, and it was a tough trek. It was we went to Dharwa top, which is I think at 14 close to 14,000 feet in Garhwals. So I remember climbing to with Mr. Raju Pal, who is the brother of Bachendri Pal, the lady who climbed Mount Everest for the first time from India. So the Bachendri Pal was the general manager of Tata Adventure Sports, and they used to conduct that team building exercise. So yeah, I think very few people in India will have the kind of first year of training and initiation in a job like I had.
Right now there are so many companies must be adapting this, idea of training the person who is joining the company in a different way. But I think Tata Steel has been doing it from years.
I think it requires a lot of
yeah,
commitment, Rishikesh, because
yeah,
you are training somebody. You look towards. I was a graduate trainee, so you are training somebody whom one of the graduate trainees would think that would lead Tata Steel. I think the current MD, he was also a graduate trainee. Mr. Firdaus Vandrewala, who was the head of Tata Power, was a graduate trainee of Tata Steel. So Tata Steel or Tesco GT, I used to call as was be along with TAS was one of the most elite core of Tata Steel. From where they would draw their senior managers and future MDs of different Tata Group companies.
okay,
So, but it calls for a lot of commitment to spend on a extended 1 year training for with such people, because at the end of the day attrition rates were very high. Part of them would stay, but overall, if I look at now out of my GT batch, I think 60-70% would have moved out. I don't know, still probably 30% still remains. I don't know the exact number, probably less. uh, but you need that commitment over and over year again to create that core of people who some of you would get leaders. You would draw out your leaders from.
right. Last question, before we move to another section, what is the message that you would want to give to young Amitava, who's 6 years old, having fun in Kolkata city? Yes,
I
you
think
can
I think
take.
I think I think be yourself, enjoy life.
I
Listen to
just
your parents. Listen to your parents. Be yourself. Go out and play. I think this is one part where children miss a lot today. You know, uh, please play. The physical activity is missing in today's children. Please go out and play. Is don't play on your sit and play on your keyboards, and don't play indoor games. Go out, run hard, play a game, or play a game or two. Not just and you play means doesn't mean that you tag along with your mother or parents and go to a cricket coaching or tennis coaching. It could be that, but just
visualize
play
that.
for the fun of it.
Have bruises, fall somewhere.
Fall
Have,
somewhere, have bruises, run around. Uh, just maybe sometimes the if we did not have hub, maybe the football or something else did not have we did not there was no air pump, and we did not have, and there was no cycle shop nearby, so it lacked the air. Maybe we played football with small cricket balls, or if the guy with the bat did not come down to play for whatever reason, we used to we had the ball but not the bat, we used to play pittu. You put those stones together. So play, run hard, play. I think that's most important. I think sports teaches general just fun of it, teaches you a lot of things, and it's a very important part of it, personality development.
that's brilliant insight, and everybody should follow it. I can get that sense that why you're saying this, because why children nowadays they're missing out on so many things because they're stick to their keyboards, and you have PlayStations at home and keep sitting and you don't go outdoors. Yeah, that's one. Let's move to another section quickly. So we have Mr. Ashish Sikka, who's the director of SMB Lenovo India. So I will just get one question for both of you, and you guys are the expert to deliver a right direction to that question, because there is no answer to that question right now, as of now. So what are the challenges faced by the IT industry in 2020, and are we ready for 2021? Is there any innovation that we see? And when I say innovation, not on a micro level, on a macro level, is anything going to happen? Or how the people like you, like technology guys, are going to help us? Tell us, please.
Okay, thanks, Rishikesh. Thanks for having me. And Amitava, pleasure to meet you. Before I start off, I think one mechanical engineer to another, nobody prepares you for the horror show which engineering drawing is. Trust me. That only subject where I got a supply or a KT or a backlog, whatever you call, and it was pretty hard to clear. So I think there should be coaching classes to prepare you for what engineering drawing can do to you. So um, Ashikesh, on terms of IT, I think IT is changing a lot. I think the last 1 year has actually transformed a lot of businesses, and obviously Amitava is the expert on that. But example earlier, first we used to call it as working from office. Then we started calling it work from home. But slowly, I think where it is moving is what we call as work from anywhere or everywhere. And slowly it would be like that. No matter where you are, what you are doing, you would be connected, and you would be responding to your clients, customers, your employees. And I think that's a big change, and people would get used to it. And it's not only an IT change; it's also a culture change. Like work from office to work from home was a big culture change, because organizations had to trust the employees for doing the right thing, and at the same time give employees the time to do their own stuff as well, the house chores, the taking care of family and stuff like that. So I think IT is playing quite a pivotal role in that. The other thing is, most of the companies which are succeeding today are the companies which are actually doing the digital transformation and uh, crushing what they were going to do in 5 to 7 years in 1 to 2 years. And those are the companies which are actually the ones who are going to enjoy the benefits much longer, because IT helps you to bring down your cost of doing business. It helps you to connect to your customers better. It helps you in your retention strategy, and as well as your acquisition strategy on the customer front. And not only that, and as I said, it also helps to do a lot more with your employees. Like I give a very simple example. These Zoom meetings, right, or Teams meeting, they start and end on time. So you are able to plan your day much better, which was not the case when you were actually traveling, because you'll get stuck in traffic, you'll not plan in a proper way. And that 10-15 minutes was kind of domino effect, where your entire day will at one point will be like you'll be running like 1 hour or 2 hours late. So I think IT is definitely playing a key role and would continue to do so.
So I think taking off from where Ashish left off, I think IT will technology will change a lot of ways we do things. And what COVID has helped us is helped in the adaptation of technology much faster. And not only in the case of individuals, it has also in the help in the case of companies and corporates as well. So corporates were forced to consider changes which they would consider a potential risk or a gradual step change they would probably be thinking of achieving in 5 years or 7 years. They were forced to do it in like less than 5 months, because when COVID stuck, you know, it stuck at all of a sudden, and it was like a lights you were in a lights out situation. Suddenly the lights have gone out, and you try and you don't know the switches. Okay, So you are groping in the dark, trying to figure out how to bring the lights on, and so you would actually uh, your acceptance of something which you probably were like, you were thinking, oh, maybe not, you know, then you don't have a choice. If this is the only way out, this is the only way out.
So that was Amitava Saha for you. I mean, his perspective towards life is simple. He comes across as a solid personality with a great sense of clarity. And he's ready to accept the fact that someone will always be better than you. But he would rather, he would prefer to channelize his energy on how to harness that missing skill set. And that is something rare to find. So, Amitava, thank you so much. Thanks for your time. Yeah, see you around.